Hey friends, I hope you're all doing well. I want to talk to you today about the most impressionable memory that I had from the day that my daughter was born and how that's helped me ever since live more in the moment and be more present with her every day of her life. Now I'll start this off with a caveat. You're not always going to be perfect. This isn't a video of me gloating or saying that I'm the best dad. I have so many flaws and they come out every single day as a father, as a husband, as a son, as a brother, as a friend, as a man. These flaws come out every day. So this isn't me saying, look how great I am. But it is acknowledging that my daughter taught me a really important lesson. And I've made a promise to myself ever since to be present with her. And I think that it's really benefited our relationship and made me a better dad. And I want to share that with you. Okay. On the day that she was born, it was very hectic. And I've always been accused of never having a very good memory. I forget things remarkably quick. But the day that she was born, I remember it very vividly. Almost everything. It feels like it happened just this morning. One of the first things that happened once my daughter was delivered was I got to cut the umbilical cord, which was very cool. I was shaking like a leaf amidst tears just streaming down my face. I got to carry her briefly and put her on mom's chest. And after I put her down, she comes out this beautiful full head of black hair, black hair. Neither of us have black hair. She eventually lost it, now it's brown. Anyway, she's crying healthily, which babies are supposed to do when they're first born. So she's on my wife's chest and I lean over and she grabs my thumb with her tiny little hand, just the tiniest, perfect, most amazing little hand. She grabs my thumb. And the tears came down even more after that. And, it was maybe 60 seconds that she was holding my thumb and it felt like an eternity, but the best eternity. I mean that in all the greatest ways. But a moment later that she let go and that moment was gone. And it occurred to me later that night as we were resting and all that stuff. And I was thinking about the day that we just had. It occurred to me that was nothing but a memory now. That moment that I had with my daughter and my wife was just a memory. And I was never going to relive it. And I was never going to get it back. And for the best day of my life and the best moment in that day to realize that, dude, you may never have a better day in your life and a better moment in a better day ever. And it's in the past now. That it affected me. It really did. And I thought, surely this little angel that's here now is going to give me so many moments daily that I want to just capture and just, how do I just sit in that moment and be there with her and remember it vividly and not be bothered by whatever's on my phone or whatever's happening in the world around me, but just be there with her. Again, I'm not always good at this. I'm not. But I've made so many improvements in my life because of that moment that I had with her, that I realized how important it was that I just sat there with her. And so now when we have these moments, and they happen every single day throughout the day, I try and just be present with her. And a lot of people talk about being present and mindful and all that stuff. But how do you actually do it? What works for me is, first of all, you need to put away whatever device you're on, unless you have it like in the corner of a room and it's just kind of recording. But put away the device, stand or sit there and don't interrupt them. This is what parents always want to do, especially grandparents always want to interrupt. What are you doing? What is it that you're painting? Why is the cat blue? A million questions that are just interrupting the moment and making it about you and not the child. So I sit or I stand. I'll give you an example. My daughter was reading the other day. She was pulling off all these books on her shelf and just like reading a few pages and then grabbing another one, reading a few pages. So cute. And so I just stood in the corner of our kitchen watching her. And I watched the way that she sat on the floor, how she flipped the pages, the mannerisms that she had, how she mouthed the words to herself, the little yogurt stain on her cheek from her snack that she had previously. I take mental catalogs of all these things, and I don't interrupt her. I just let her do her thing. I wrote a blog recently on Medium, which I'll post a link to, where we went down to a little stream with a little tiny waterfall, and I just watched her throw rocks, sticks, and leaves into that stream for an hour. And I only interrupted her when I thought that she was getting a little bit too close to the water or leaning too far over the edge of the little waterfall or what have you. Or when she asked me a question, I would respond. But beyond that, I left her alone. And I just sat there watching in amazement of this little thing that my wife and I happened to create, growing up and exploring the world around her and learning how to throw, learning how to jump between rocks, learning how to pick up heavy rocks carefully, and learning what happens when, the heavier a rock you throw into water, the bigger the splash is going to be. These things we take for granted, but kids are learning it for the first time. And what she taught me that day that she grabbed my thumb was that I'm never going to get that hour back with her, ever. Every morning she comes out, because I'm usually out of the room. I'm always out of the room by the time she and her mom wake up. And she comes out of the bedroom, and I hear her turn the doorknob, and she comes out, and I hear little feet tapping on the floor. Every morning. And she comes and runs into my arm. Whatever it is I'm doing, whatever it is, I stop it immediately and get down on one knee and lift her up. And she comes, and I just hold her until she's done being held. Until, something catches her eye, our cat, maybe she says, I gotta go to the toilet, whatever. But I never cut it short. Even if I'm heading out the door that second, I never cut it short. Because there's gonna come a time where the thing that repulses her the most is the idea of being held on to for a very long time by her mom and dad. And that's just the reality of it. It's like, oh gosh, no, don't touch me, Dad. There's going to come a time where that happens, and she'll come out of that too, and then she'll come out on the other side as an adult, wanting to, and having kids of her own, and wanting her dad, grandpa, me, to be there with her again. These are cycles, but you never get that moment back, man. You never do. And she taught me that, And so I'll share another blog, a Medium blog that I wrote, about a response that I got from one of my wife's friends on Instagram when I posted a video, just asking her some questions about what it was that she was painting. And my wife's friend effectively said, the reason why you're a great dad is because you understand how precious these moments are and how quickly they all disappear. Again, this is not me gloating or like bragging, but some things I have intuitively understood. Intuitively and been reminded of through just experience of being a dad. And I shared that moment with her where my daughter grabs my thumb and she said, wow, Andrew, that makes a lot of sense. I get it now. And I hope you have that moment with your son and your daughter where you're like, oh my goodness, that just happened and it's never going to happen again. And if you appreciate that for what it is, don't be sad. Be happy that you experienced it, and then let that be a guiding light going forward. And remember that all those moments where you're holding on to them and you could just your heart could burst with love, that you're never going to get that moment with them back. And even if you do, it's going to be a little bit different than it was that time. Because every day, every moment is like a snowflake. It's never, no two days, no two moments, no two experiences are ever going to be the same. So that's what my daughter taught me. And I hope that if you're a new parent or you're a parent to be, or maybe you're just like a parent that's struggling. Life, parenthood is it's just a series of waves, man, up and down. Some days are great, some days are tough. But if at the end of the day, you can say, you know what? At that moment, I was there with them. I didn't let anything else distract me. I just sat in that. I think if you do that enough times in your child's life, I mean truly are present with them, that no matter the mistakes that you've made and are going to make, and you're going to make a million, your child is going to be able to look back and forgive you for those mistakes. Mom, dad, they're flawed people, as we all are. But you know what? They were there. They showed up every moment. Maybe not every moment, but they showed up most moments. And if you can do that, I think at the end of that road, when you're old and you're looking back, and they're older and they're looking back, you and your child and your spouse can smile knowing we made mistakes, man, but we were there. So that's where I'll end it. A message to the wise from my 20-minute-old daughter, teaching me more than I could ever possibly teach her in one grab of a thumb. So take that for what you will. Hope that added some value to your day and to your life and to your experience as a parent. Have a great one. God bless.